Well, all of our books at Children's Book Press are, I love all of them. I know everyone who works on staff with me also just adores all of them for, all of their different wonderful qualities. So it is very hard for me to choose favorites. But, reflecting back on the history of the press, because we've been around since 1975, there definitely are a few books that stand out as particularly significant, I think, in terms of both the history of the press and also the sort of recent history of children's book publishing. And I would love to talk about two of them in particular. And one of them is a book called The People Shall Continue. It's by Simon Ortiz and is illustrated by Cheryl Graves. And this book actually came out in 1977. It's vintage children's book press. And this book was absolutely revolutionary when it was published because it's a first voice retelling of the history of the Native American peoples in what is now the United States, obviously. It's really the first book told in the first voice for this particular audience. It pulls no punches. It's a very, some would say, political retelling, and I think it was really significant in that I think it encapsulates our mission, sort of putting out stories that are really important that other publishers are not going to be putting out there. And I think also because the Native American community has been historically underrepresented in children's literature and grossly misrepresented in a lot of children's literature. And it has very rarely been represented by people from any of the Native American cultures in this country. So I think that book is absolutely one of the most important ones that we've published in our 33-year history. And then another one that's particularly significant to the press is Family Pictures, Cuadros de Familia by Carmen Lomas Garza. It's significant. Well, Carmen is a local star here in the Bay Area. She's an amazing fine artist, one of the most well-known Latina artists, Chicana artists, I think in California and in the United States. And this book it was published 15 years ago. And is one of the biggest books for us. It's really enabled us in some ways to continue to do what we do, in that it's a wonderful book that has appealed to so many people. The Family Pictures has sold 400,000 copies since it was published in, I think it was 1990 actually. And that alone is a huge achievement. I mean, in children's books, you're talking about very, very small printings of books. And so for a book to go on and sell 400,000 copies, and you can extrapolate from there how many lives have been touched by this book. It's just huge. And I think in terms of really opening up the world of bilingual Spanish and English publishing for children, it's also been very significant just in terms of the audience that it's reached. So definitely those two come to mind. We generally publish about 4 new hardcovers a year at Children's Book Press, and in 2008 we actually published 3. And the most recent releases for 2008 were 2 books. They're both bilingual in English and Spanish. One of them is called Quinito Day and Night, and it's a sequel to another book called Quinito's Neighborhood. And it's a young boy named Quinito and his 2 siblings, and they kind of take the reader through a typical day in their household, in their lives, pointing out different opposites to the reader. So Quinito's little sister is very short, his older brother is very tall, that sort of thing. It's very, very cute. And the other book that came out in the fall of 2008 is a book called Animal Poems of the Iguazu, and it's by Francisco Alarcón, who's a wonderful Chicano poet. He's runs the Spanish for Native Speakers program at UC Davis. And it's a beautiful collection of poetry, what we're calling actually our first environmental collection of poetry. And the poems are about the Iguazu rainforest in Argentina. And it really brings to life the voices of the animals and the insects and the birds that reside in this particularly threatened corner of the world in the Iguazu rainforest in Argentina. And the artwork for that book was done by Maya Cristina Gonzalez, who's an incredibly talented artist and illustrator in her own right. And for 2009, a couple of highlights that we have coming up. We have a book that we're releasing this spring called From Tan to Tamarind. It's a collection of poems about the color brown. And Tan to Tamarind is a truly multicultural collection. It's written by a South Asian author called Malati Michelle Iyengar. And each poem is about a different beautiful shade of brown: sandalwood, tan, ochre. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous poems. And the artwork is by Jamel Akib. He's a wonderful illustrator. And in the fall, we'll be releasing a book by Dr. Guadalupe Rivera Marin. She is the daughter of Diego Rivera. And we're very excited about this book. It's, I would say, our lead title for the fall. And it's a collection of her childhood memories about her father, Diego Rivera, and her memories of growing up around him and his artwork. And the book will be illustrated by his artwork, so we're really, really excited about that one. I work at Children's Book Press because it's hard for me to imagine another place that so beautifully ties together so many things that are important to me. One is my love of literature and art. You know, we are fortunate to work with so many fabulous fine artists and amazing authors and poets. The sense of mission at Children's Book Press is incredibly important to me and to everyone who works at CBP, in that I think we're really able to bring to bear our values and our passion about children and literacy and bilingualism and multiculturalism and just pluralism in our society in general. I think it's really rare to find a place where you can work to create a product that is the sum total of all of those things. So I feel incredibly fortunate to work there. And you know, in closing, I just want to say that if you don't know us, please come find us on the web. We're at www.childrensbookpress.org. And as I said before, our books are really for all children. And we would love to reach you as a reader if you're new to us. So.